Ayigbe Megbe. Because by then, Ayi does not understand Ga. Ayi spoke only Ewe.
Wow.
And Ayigbe Megbe. But the delegation that came, they didn't understand what Ayi said. So when they got back to Gamashi, I mean, Ayigbe. So Ayi said, I know, right? So that has become more of the way Ghanaians refer.
Megbe means no.
Megbe means I refuse.
Okay.
I refuse. Megbe means I refuse.
Right.
So when they came, they said Ayike Igbe. So God actually called Ayi's people.
Ayike Igbe Egbo.
So God actually called Ayi's people, right? Ayi's people as Ayigbe chairman. But that is not the actual name for every people. So in Ghana, the moment you say Ayigbe, everybody thinks, oh, and that is the actual name for people from the Volta region or from Togo. But that is just the name
for the guys,
for a group of people that were under Ni Ayi. Do you understand? I think a lot has been said with this whole Otumfo situation. I mean, the French colonies paying royalties back to the French government, the French central bank, and all of that. I mean, it's about time we start having some of this conversation to dispel some of these myths, some of this, misinformation that have been in the system for years. Because a lot of books would tell you that the first missionary that
Maclaw, somebody for the YouTube comments I say, are you spoke Ghana though?
I'm not sure. I can't verify that. Maybe it might be true or not. But one thing I want to say is it's about time we call a spade a spade. Like, if you look through our history, the reason why Ghana language hasn't been given its check mark, its adoption and widespread in Ghana, was because they wanted to push a particular tribe forward. Google Professor Irene Odote. She is a professor of African studies. She wrote extensively about Ga communities, Ga culture, Ga history. That never got published. Carl Randolph, he's also another great historian about the Ga people. He's written a lot about Ga history and more, but those papers never got published because you had some who felt like, no, let's push the Ashanti man agenda and make Ashanti great.
Because
to be honest,
it was fellas in Grand Opie them with it.
If you look at the Ashanti kingdom today, and look at the Ghana kingdom today, and look at the other kingdoms across, they are all paramounts. They are not a kingdom. Go on Google today and type kingdoms in the world. Ashanti kingdom is not listed. It is more of a ceremonial name that have been given to it because they felt like, okay, they deserve it. But somebody mentioned in the area that the Ashanti came to Sierra Leone and Liberia. I'm sorry, that is false information. The Ashanti Kingdom actually was just within Ghana. It was in the central belt of Ghana. It didn't go further to anywhere because at that time it was the Northern Protectorate, Transvolta Togoland, the Ashanti Belt, and the southern area.
Right, the following countries have royal families. Andorra, Antigua, and Barbuda.
Yes.
Australia.
Those ones are royal families. But we are talking about royal kingdoms. At the moment, the royal kingdoms of Saudi Arabia is one. The Kingdom of England is 2. Ashanti Kingdom does not get
the list of I read from right now says Ashanti Kingdom no day inside.
Exactly. So I think it's about time we start having this conversation so that the actual truth about some of these things gets exposed. If you look at our textbooks that we've used over the years, pay attention to the names of the people that wrote those textbooks. None of them are Ghana people. None of them are Ewe people. Most of them were Ashanti people that actually were trying to push an agenda. This is not a space to bash Ashantis or whatever, but this is history. If you read deep into our history, you realize these things are embedded into our history. You understand? At a point in time, people were fighting to be Ghana should be more of a federal system where every region caters for their own needs because some of the regions were endowed with natural resources. At the same time, Nkrumah was fighting for a unitary government where the whole country be united. So you could see that there's a faction of people that from Titi, they wanted to be made all because they have natural resources. That I mean, if you look into our history, the slave trade, which families, which ethnic group like were so into the slave trade in the Ashantis. They had camps where slaves from Burkina, Mali, Mauritania were being camped in Ashanti region before they get transported to the coast. All of these histories are there, but people blindly look at some of these things and they spread a lot of misinformation in the system. Another thing I want to highlight before I jump off. There's always this conversation of Ashantis went to war and they conquered everybody. I'm sorry. Please do your Google. Go back. Go to Google Books. Read about wars that has happened in Africa, in Ghana. The group that the Ashantis fought and they won over them, they were not more than 10. See, Ashantis needed access to the coast. Who controls the coast? Guns, Fantis, Ewes. Ashanti needed guns to fight in battles. So guess what? They had to make a tri-party agreement. Google tri-party agreement. There's a tri-party agreement between Anglo chiefs and Ashanti chiefs for them to get access to the coast because that is where the ships that come to dock, they dock in Keta, they dock mostly along the coast. That is where Ashantis were getting their gunpowder, their schnapps, their guns and everything from. What were we getting? What were the coastal people getting? We were able to get food crops, right? Now, this is where it even gets interesting. Then if you go to Kumasi today, there's a town called Angloga. Ask yourself, why is an Ewe town located in the heart of Ashanti region? And now, it will interest you to know that there's a town in Angloga called Kumasi.
Kumasi.
This was the Ewe. People keep saying Ashantis and Ewe don't get along and everything. Yes, they don't get along because of their family system. Ewes and Gans are patrilineal. We inherit from our father's side. Ashantis are more towards their mother's side. In any situation, when those two people get together, there's always going to be confusion because they don't understand each other in terms of what the patrilineal and matrilineal, right? Now, coming back to this whole, you ask yourself, okay, why is that even the case? I think we need to find time and have a proper conversation about the system of inheritance in Ghana, explore it from the various groups and more. But today, this is just what I want to add to it. I just go home. So, Charlie, I go to listen. If anybody get questions.
McLeod, you spotted.
Senior McLeod, Charlie, big thanks for all the things you talk. I just want to add something small to the Everton Ghana link there they talk. So for Osu, right, we get some small town that they call Anaho. Be like Anaho, Osu Anaho. It relate to Aneho for Togo. Right. And then with the whole garden, Everton and Adangbe, before you go catch Volta region, if you travel from Accra, right, or southern Ghana, you catch the Adan villages just before you go catch Volta region. But Adan villages, then they end them and names the end plus some other suffix. Koffer, Ada Koffer, Jietro Koffer. This be like Koffer the new village forever inside. But then this town names, even though they get like ever names, they not be ever villages, they be Adan villages. Where the Adans them are, the name that they call God for the Adangbe language be Mau, right? That be the same word ever they take call God. So I sure pass the marriage between Adangbe. Sometimes that be the kind how they call them remnants we left for Ghana in history inside. Yeah.
The thing they talk, my mind comes something top. It's true, because around that some places they call them Kungo copy and sense. You know, the copy way they talk, no, it be the same spelling. KOP. Are they like?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But senior man McLeod, I go really appreciate if every time you go mention ever, you actually go talk, go talk Elway, like the way with the speller.
No, I'm trying to, be very accommodating because not everybody get a tongue to pronounce it the way we're supposed to pronounce it.
Exactly.
Alphabet is not on the QWERTY keyboard.
It be the Germans. It be the Germans them are doing.
Okay.
Yeah, we work hard to actually get some of these alphabets onto Google. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Inchia app. An app developed to promote Ghanaian languages, and you guys should check it out, download it, and Charlie will be able to help you learn other languages. The funny thing here is a lot of people on this space speak at least more than 2 Ghanaian languages.
Oh yeah.
I beg, if you are here and you can actually speak more than, let me see by emoji. If you can speak more than 2 Ghanaian languages. If you can speak more than two. So you realize that more people are able to speak other African Ghanaian languages because of migration patterns, right? But other tribes don't want to learn other languages. Do you get it?
Mm-hmm.
Like an Ewe person who speak Ga, who speak Chi, could probably speak Hausa because of per association with other people that they move with. But it always baffles me that pick an Ashanti man out of Kumasi, he's lived in Accra all these years, he doesn't understand Ga.
So way.
He doesn't understand. Yeah. Like there's no desire to learn so that you will not feel like, oh, I want to understand them. Right? It's always me them in you. We need to move from that mindset of me them in you to let me take the time. Let me take the time to learn you so that when you are speaking, I will not assume that you are plotting something against me. Look, when you go to the Zongos, how many languages are in the Zongos? There's Kokomba, there's Dagamba, there's Mampuli, there's Hausa, there's Ewe, there's like all sort of languages are there. And like it's a community of languages, right? And I think it's about time we make that effort to learn others' languages. Look, I speak more. I speak like 5 Ghanaian languages as we speak here.
Oh, really?
I speak Ewe, I speak Ga, I speak Fante, I speak Hausa.
Oh, you spotted.
And I speak Chi. You understand? There's no way I will be in the midst of people that are speaking another language and I'll feel some kind of way. Oh. I don't understand Adangbe, but anybody who is speaking Adangbe, I'm able to strain my ears to just speak the Ga version for me to understand what they're saying.
Yeah, if they hear Ga, the Adangbe will be easy for you. But yeah, when you meet the Zima people, there's Zima people where they could sell you. You know, when they do the mele, you go feel them. You go say no.
Yeah, so I believe we have a lot to, like, this generation, this Y2K generation, heavily relying on internet and everything. Charlie, let's dig. Let's have conversations that are geared towards promoting some of these things, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
True. Big up yourself, man, like McLeod, bro.
My name is Mark Jordan. My name is Mark Jordan.
I know we love see the J where they see oh no, sorry, from afar. Me and all right, Mark Jordan. Thank you very much, Mark Jordan, River Mark Jordan. Mark Jordan with his spot there, you know. Intelligent guy, bro. Shout out to all the intelligent niggas, you know. Today when I the control the speed stuff today, you know. We small. I information, papa. Cool. No money. Come on, watching. They can't hold Kumasi back.
Oh,
watching. No, I see. Hold on. I want to see who they use that. I be you. Oh, okay. I just say Busio. Sorry, be you.
I'm offended. What's a boost you?
It's a punk, no. Say oh. What about him? I say you can't hold your people their back. Say oh, it's you.
Oh, no, it's so safe. I do mix, so I stand on both sides. But I think that it's about time Ghanaians patronize on our own language. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And what Parliament is doing, I think, is very useful.
Yeah.
Because Oko UN, they do it at the UN. You will never hear like Vladimir Putin speak English, but he's very eloquent in English. You know, and Kwasade Ogane he said, you get last for speaking your own local language. You know, like you go to school, I say if you speak vernacular, you get punished. And that archaic ideology needs to be thrown to the dust. Now, as to whether Ghanaians are going to agree to adopt one language as a national language, I don't think that will ever happen. The Ghans and the Ewes and the Krobos, and before we be in Ewe, and Asante we do now want to learn other people's languages, and vice versa. But I think it would be good if we are able to learn each other's language and find some, that helps us create relationships. But I don't think the language barrier per se is a problem in Ghana, because in the past maybe 20 plus years we've been marrying left and right, rough. It's just a matter of the lack of structure to compel people to learn languages. I think it's the main thing, because even at Kamfonokra in school, you are not allowed to speak, P in school. Even with a P in Ukraine, I can't for no one to brothel. So that one, I don't know where that one comes from. Yeah, but that way I want to. I mean, I think what they're doing is in the right direction.
Bless up, bro. Chris, Spotter. Chris, should we speaker now? Let's go.
Hello? Fire.
Yeah, man, Chris, what going?
Yeah, Adeo. I just want to add some 2 cents to the conversation. But first of all, what I want to be say, some of the assertions from Jordan, or be be them all way it be direct
Valid.
like that.
Right.
A typical example, a typical example is talking about the fact let's say the Asantes were being projected based on writings. But over Asantes Nimuankasa, a lot of them were not educated. So what really happened was a lot of these British missionaries, meaning sometime I sent you a researcher, RSS Rattray. If you read about him, he was a British. He said he was a missionary according to certain sources. According to other sources, it was stated he was a spy for the British. He actually documented a lot of the Asante political structure, their way of life. Dr. Ross, she was also an ethnographer who did a lot of documentation on the Asantes. So typically, it is not the Asantes themselves who did a lot of these things. Most of the Asantes were considered as savages, because when the missionaries docked at the coast, right, getting direct access into the forest belts of Ghana, where the Asantes wasn't easy, because they were considered as savages.
Right.
Most of the time, it took a lot of time before the British were able to actually march into, and they had to align themselves with the Dentures, who were also part of the central region, and met the Asantes around Feyiase, a suburb of an extension from the Lake Bosomtri area, where they had their war and all those things. So marching straight into the Asante belt wasn't an easy thing. So if you say, directly, a lot of literature, blah, 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 were written by the Asantes themselves. It's not entirely factually correct. That is one. And two, based on a lot of the way the Asante traditional system was well organized, and the Asantes themselves were very smart because any ethnic group, currently we don't use the word tribe again because it's derogatory. But then what they did was the Asantes, any ethnic group would be they have something they don't have. What they do is they try to form an alliance with that particular ethnic group. A typical example is the Northerners. Asantes really, really relate very well with the Northerners because the Northerners were the people who were giving the Asantes a lot of powers, and they actually fought in a lot of Asante wars in their dominance in Ghana. Mm-hmm. You understand it? Yeah. So a typical example is the word Batakari. Batakari is not an Asante word, but then when you come to the Asante Kingdom, when you go to Menchia, for example, mm-hmm. the Otunfo is giving the Batakari Kesia to wear. Mm-hmm. It's only brought out, I think, twice in his lifetime when he's been stood as a king, and when the new, I think, and when he dies, or when the new king is being installed. That is the only time that Batakari is brought out. And some of these things, it has a lot of amulets and all these things. And all these powers were given to the Asantes by the Northerners. Right. So in Tuba, so when you even come to Menchia Palace, for example, the enclave around the Menchia Palace is surrounded by Northerners and Muslims. And they were actually protecting, they were part of the protection for Otunfo. And up to now, that is where they live. Oba Swase enclave is 90% Muslims. So it's not entirely. So Oshe, if a lot of other people from other ethnic settings are able to take, little unconscious biases and look at the conversation critically, you will see that the Asantes themselves, Nankasa, they were very few, but then they realized, say, the Nipa or mine. So most of the time they were always smart, well, or for want of a better word, smart enough to try and form allies and try to get a lot of people on their side, get other chiefs, because a lot of these sub-chiefs were independent states already, before they were all brought together in order for them to be given one united front, which is the golden stool, which, according to myth or legends or whatever, was conjured from the sky. Mm-hmm. You understand? Yeah. So it's not entirely, say, why are Asantes dominant in this way and that way? But then, study critically, if you look at Asantes themselves, Nankasana, you could see, say, anytime they want numbers, because they feel, say, the numbers and a year on mine. You understand it? Mm-hmm. So that is one of the reasons why most of the time the Asantes call themselves as a nation, rather than being, they see themselves as a nation. They have
everything's about numbers,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
dumb.
another aspect, exactly. You understand it. So it is not, and Asantes were, and the word is, currently we use the word Asantes, not Ashanti. We use the word Asante. The Asante is actually the right word. Yeah, Asante is actually the right word. politically, according to friends, and based on literature and other political sources.
Asante.
Yes. Good. Yes, based on other political sources, other political people felt say Asantes and West have issues. They don't have any issue. They don't have any issue. So here, I think say about a year ago, there was an instrument or an occasion in the voter registry, and Otunfo was even invited to go and grace the occasion as well.
Yeah.
Yes, and yes, all these people were people who were giving the Asantes you understand it? Yeah, so it's not entirely factually correct. It's based on, political divisions by these politicians. Yeah, they are trying to feed into our heads with some. I forgot it. There was this professor. He died. I think he died in Kenya out of a shootout. He was a Ghanaian. He actually wrote a book.
Kofi Awuno.
Awuno, very good. He actually wrote a book that brought a lot of division between Asantes and the Ellis.
It's actually an essay. He calls it I'm Ghanaian.
Exactly.
There's this famous statement he made. I'm for a Ghanaian.
Yes, and so if you follow some of these assertions, and another thing, when you come to the Asante Kingdom, right? We say Asante 4 are matrilineal, but the Bantama stool is patrilineal, which traces its lineage from the northern descent. You understand it? So when you come to the Asante Kingdom, we have Asante Kremu. Asantes are able to put their label on every person in order for the person to become them, or in order for them to claim the person. I don't know whether if you understand the angle I'm coming from. So most of the time, they tend to put their label on every person because they feel say the nipa and a chichiku. You understand it?
Asante Ayigbe.
Yes, all those things they have that. When you come to the Asante Kingdom, they have these things, and they say it unapologetically. So it's not entirely say they are divisive, or it's based on people's perception. Another aspect, and so Mark was making the assertion say the Asantes don't really like to learn languages from other people. It is because when you even based on Oshe Omusuba and Kasana, they don't really like change. They like to keep to themselves. Even up to now, modernization in your Manima Bebeaba, you still could see, say, Asantes would like to keep to themselves. As a Britain they don't like change. You can't easily influence them. They don't easily adapt. So it even transfers into the way Asantes are not easily influenced to learn how to speak English. Because during colonization, they didn't want to easily succumb to learning something which they felt is alien to them. So they actually turned some of the languages in order for them not to feel that they are losing their tongue. And your friends saying the way Asantes are conservative and they would like to keep to themselves and they don't easily like to adapt to change. But our people from the coast, a lot of people in, let's say, the coastal belt of Ghana, the Gas, for example, and probably the people from the Cape Coast area easily adapted to change. And which I feel is a red flag.
Very
so, of Farise Obeka in Kaikasan. But a Kumasi person will first and foremost like to speak Chi. That is how conservative they are. And see, that is a little my 2 cents I would like to submit to the entire talk. Thank you.
Big up yourself, Sir Chris. Big up everybody we passed through the live today, and everybody we passed through the space. Everybody will contribute. Extra big up. Big up man like Segbe, you sport there. Big up man like Mac Jordan. Big up man like Chris. Big up man like Esco. Big up man like Scanty. Big up man like Selassie. Big up man like NY. Big up man like Bongo. Big up man. Big up all them man. Them. Watch I say. This motherfucking stand on the fucking building. Me dan tax stand. Boo. What I say? What did you me? You know go with you.